I don't think you.
It's very
I think a few of them.
We're just gonna wait a couple more minutes, we're just a couple shy for a quorum, and, we'll proceed once after a few minutes. Thanks. You know. Find out why the volume is not working on this fucking thing. I'm sorry.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And I want the longest serving mayor in North America to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call.
Okay, so from Ansonia, we have Mayor Cassetti.
He's online.
Is on the line?
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
From Bethlehem, we have First Selectman Stephen Swarty. Here. From Cheshire, we have Andrew Martelli. Here. From Derby, Mayor DiMartino.
Here.
From Middlebury, First Selectman St. John. Here. Naugatuck, Mayor Hess.
Here.
From Oxford, First Selectman Temple.
Here.
From Prospect, Mayor Chatfield.
Here.
From Waterbury, Judy Mancini.
Here.
And First Selectman Perkinson from Woodbury.
Here.
Alright, so that gives us a form of both the COG and the NVO.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm back.
Mayor Cassetti's here also.
Thank you.
All right. All right, public comment. Is there anyone here or on Zoom that would like to address the COG? All right. Anyone who wants to address the COG? Last call for public comment. Hearing none, we'll go to item 3. CNVMPO meeting 2025-2028 tip amendments. Rich Donovan.
Thank you. Good morning. So we have 3 amendments to the 2025 to 2028 TIP to address this morning. And so the first, as you'll see on the screen here, is for project 170-3780. This project is adding additional years worth of funding from the department using federal and state funds to the University of Connecticut to help support the Connecticut Roadway Safety Management System. And so just a little background, if anybody is unfamiliar with the CRSMS, it is a fantastic tool that UConn has developed that has data about pretty much every road in the state and uses a combination of that data plus the data contained within the UConn crash data repository to help do analyses of pretty much any roadway here in the state. It's a tool that all of the municipalities have access to. We here on the transportation planning staff use it pretty regularly to help with our analyses as we go through, and particularly as we focus on safety work. And so this project adds in the funding for the next several years to keep that program going. And, you know, as far as our opinion of it, it's a fantastic tool and a fantastic return on the investment of the state's highway safety implementation dollars.
Okay, any questions for Rich?
And so we'll probably, it's all one amendment or one motion if we go through the other couple of projects. Desiree, if you don't mind going to the next.
Proceed.
So the next one is project 174-479. And so at the locations identified here on the screen, in and around the Waterbury urban area, this will be replacing in-road loop detectors with modern video detection systems at these signals. And if you'll go one more, the last project, and I apologize, I know this is very difficult to read on the screen for those of you here in the room, is for project 170-3640. At the meeting 2 months ago, we added this project in to the CNVMPO's TIP. This project is a replacement of signs and sign supports along Interstates 95 and 395 for around the service plazas. The department had originally called that a statewide project, which is why we added it into our TIP here. But it is being adjusted to only cover the territories within which that project occurs. As neither 95 or 395 cross into the CNVMPO, they have asked us to remove it from the TIP. You'll recognize, or you may recognize this as the old format for TIP amendments. Obviously different from the first 2 we looked at today. This was an issue with the way the project carried through in the new electronic TIP format. And so they had to send us this one. They had to delete the project entirely and add it in as a new project again under the new jurisdiction. And so we received this to remove in their old Excel format. So again, apologies for the tiny sprint here on the screen, but so our staff recommendation would be to adopt resolution 2510, endorsing these three changes to.
So move, Chatfield.
All right,
Second.
second Oxford, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unified Planning Work Program.
I would like to know, first select excuse me. I would like to know, first select woman, Dragonis has joined the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to Unified Planning Work Program.
Yes, so as we have done pretty much every other year, or as we do every other year, we have developed a new unified planning work program. The UPWP is the document that lays out our planning program for transportation and all federal transportation planning funds over the course of the 2-year period, in this case from state fiscal year 26 through state fiscal year 2027, or July 1st of this year through June 30th of next. I'm sorry, of 27. And so, very relatively minor changes to the planning program from the last 2 years. But I want to highlight a couple of key changes. The first is that the Federal Highway Administration has asked us to no longer reference federal planning factors. In years past, we've been given a list of priority planning factors to focus our attention on. And in this cycle, the Federal Highway Administration has asked us not to reference that. And so it hasn't had a significant impact on the planning work that's planned, but it does remove those pages out of the document. It also has not changed our regional goals or issues that we are working to address. As we talk about pretty regularly, those include an aging transportation system, recurring congestion and delays on our region's roads and highways, a lack of public transit options, and roadway safety. And so all of the work in this document is really designed to address those issues. We have formalized in this cycle a roadway safety audit program, which we've been doing a little bit in the past several years. This really adds it in as a formal part of our planning program. And so the UPWP in this cycle is broken down into the same 7 tasks as it was last time. We have a task for data collection and analyses, and this is what a lot of the work that Rich and his team are doing in GIS, as well as the work that we do monitoring the roadway system. Task 2 is multimodal planning. This covers the majority of the work that we do, looking at public transit, highways, rail, and bus systems, as well as active transportation. Item 3 or task 3 is the implementation of the program. And so this is the type of work we do, leading and working with the committees that implement the various plans that we create. Task 4 is technical assistance. A really important part of our program is providing that technical assistance directly to all of you. And so that is funded using federal funds under task 4. Task 5 is public engagement. And this is really the work that Desiree and Heidi do, making sure that the planning work we do is available to the public, is responsive to public comments, and getting these plans out there. Task 6 is the administration of the program, and task 7 is the complete street set aside that was required under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And so as an MPO, we are required to spend at least 2.5% of our total federal funding on complete streets work. In the next cycle, that's going to include the development of a prioritization plan, a complete streets prioritization plan, and a complete streets policy for the region that we'll be updating and adopting as part of the active transportation plan that we anticipate having done later this year. So this plan is out there for public comment right now. We are under the NVCOG public participation plan required to have a 45-day public comment period. We are in the middle of that public comment period now. The timing required for Federal Highway to approve this before the July 1st start date requires us to bring this to you today, even though we haven't finished that public comment period. And so any changes that come from public comment, we will bring back before you as an amendment to the document. We have yet to receive any public comments on it. We did receive comments from the Federal Highway Administration and the Connecticut Department of Transportation with some general guidance, but no substantive changes to the content that we put together in the initial draft.
So move Prospect.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
So Rick, going back to task two, regional freight plan.
Mhm.
I know you're aware of this, but I want to spend some time with you on that. On May 27th, B&W Railroad, the national large railroad, is coming to Naugatuck to make a presentation. And we intend to bring freight rail back to Naugatuck
Fantastic.
with possibilities in Ansonia, Waterbury, and Bristol. And they are a extremely large, competent outfit. And we are full speed ahead to make that happen. The state is with us and things are emerging very quickly. So we have to catch up in this planning.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so freight rail does make a significant portion of what we're hoping to accomplish with the freight plan. You know, we don't have a lot of freight rail left in the region or really in the state. But we do have a lot of
The
move through and-
infrastructure is there.
Yeah,
And we have the available land, unlike other parts of
Exactly.
Connecticut, to make it work. And
Yeah.
we will make it work.
and the swap from Pan Am to Berkshire and Eastern under Genesee and
But
Wyoming
don't
ownership
forget,
is huge.
Pan Am merged with CSX,
Mhm.
so we have CSX and G&W in the state.
Yeah.
And they're both anxious to proceed and use freight rail to replace trucks on the highway. It's a great project. They will help all your roads.
Yes,
Good
most
thing.
definitely.
All right, any, okay, Mayor Chatfield, proceed.
Motion to approve.
Oxford. Second.
Yeah.
Got full attention when you're sitting there.
That interesting.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And if I may offer just one quick comment, so this covers the 15-town Central Naugatuck Valley Planning Region. The Greater Bridgeport and Valley Region will be adopting their UPWP, to which we contributed pretty heavily in the next few weeks.
Michael.
We were also joined by, town manager Ramo and, Mayor Shevin.
Thank you. Okay, item 4, approval of minutes. Prospect,
So move.
we have, motion by Prospect and second by Shelton. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Financial report. Michael.
Thank you. So this is the financial report for the period ending March 31st. It's 75% or 9 months through the year. We are at about 69% budget to actual. We had some turnover in the middle months there, so this taking us a little bit longer to recoup billings. Nevertheless, our net position is $4,000 and we expect it to converge to about 0 towards the end of the year to a balanced budget. We have about $7 million in cash, $1 million in our general fund, 5.2 in deferred revenue. And our G&A expenses are about 56%, so we are under target there. Outside of that, we didn't receive any unexpected funding cuts. However, there is pending risk of not being allocated awarded grants due to presidential executive orders, restriction on transportation funding. The two in particular are the RAISE grant and the PROTECT grant, where there's still some ambiguity. Outside of that, the only other real thing to note, our professional service line is about 105% over the target, which is due to professional services, public advocacy group. That was previously in a different line item, under the salary line, moved to professional services. But outside of that, so it's still on.
All right, questions for Michael? We have a motion? So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So before we move to this, I do want to note, so for the fiscal year 26 budget, we are planning to get that approved or put that in front of the board in June. We will be having an executive committee meeting once the legislature comes out of session. And then present it in front of the full board, presuming the executive committee recommends it for the June meeting. Unfortunately, I won't be here for the June board meeting. I'll be at a wedding in Bosnia. But Rick will be here to answer any questions, and of course, with the executive committee meeting, all members are welcome to attend as well, not just the executive board.
So you're looking for,
Okay, so now, so this is a yearly thing, the FY 25 appointment of the auditor of King and Associates. It's basically the OPM requirement, we have to do it every year. It is the 5th and final option year of their contract, so we will be going out for bid around summertime. We would like to note that it has been difficult finding an auditor, and last time we went out to bid 5 years ago. We don't anticipate it being much easier. A lot of the firms just don't want to do the work. There's only a couple that still do, and the ones that do, everyone kind of goes to them. So, we'll see when we go out there. We do like to switch it up every 5 years, in order to maintain the attendance.
second. You have a motion, a second from Oxford. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So, Michael, are you gonna make the director's report?
I'm going to defer to Drew, to touch on the director's report.
Okay, Drew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Michael. The first one is going to be in your packet. You'll see a resolution for NVCOG taking over the management and oversight of the Naugatuck Valley Corridor Economic Development District, which has been previously handled by SEDC for many years. Thank you, Mayor Loretti and his team. We've been working with them to kind of transition all those responsibilities over to the COG, which, as you know, is the only regional planning entity in the region. So I'm working with SEDC for that handoff and working with EDA to finish all the administrative items related to that. This would be basically the final thing needed for us to take that over officially and apply for funding from EDA to keep things moving forward.
Any further information on availability of EDA funding?
Yes, actually, we just got an email yesterday that they're going to be sending out invitation to apply for the 3-year planning grant, which is how we craft the SEDS. So I believe that they're going to be maybe less impacted than a lot of the other departments federally. It sounds like based on that email we received yesterday.
Okay, so you're asking for this motion.
Adoption of the resolution, please.
We have a motion? Second. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I know we're a little sluggish today. A little. All right, Drew, legislative update.
Thank you, thank you. Real quick, so obviously we're in the thick of this session. There's a lot of things happening every day. I'll give you 4 notable ones. Number 1 being the governor has officially signed legislation that sunsets the long loathed and developer unfriendly Transfer Act. So there is a new release-based cleanup law on the books that is effective immediately. It's upon passage. So Ricardo unfortunately is not with us today, but he will have a lot more information about that for you moving forward, and we'll be able to work with your economic development directors on some projects that maybe otherwise were not going to happen, or they're anticipating this really opening up the state to a lot more projects that were otherwise undoable. So the second one will be relevant from on the municipal side, probably a direct response to what happened in Bethany. I'm sure most of you are following the news. Municipally run camps for kids from ages, I want to say 6 to 16, are now going to be subject to the Office of Early Childhood regulations that private camps will be responsible for adhering to. So there's going to be a couple fees involved in that for you as towns getting licensure, but that goes into effect next March or next May. So before next summer, your town camps will have to be in compliance with this. So that's going through the paces right now and has had a few amendments, but that definitely looks like that's going to come through. Feel free to stop me anytime if you have questions, by the way. And the last two, Rick wanted me to mention that there are a couple proposals that add staffing to COGS, one of which would be for a wastewater lead, housing coordinator, and municipal solid waste management as well. We don't know what direction those are going yet, but there's proposals that add between 250 and 400,000 to the RPIA account at the state, to be delegated to each COG to have just positions that can handle that on a regional level. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then finally, ECS funding, which, as you know, is a hot button every year. The governor is challenging the legislators to follow the formula that was put in place in 2017, which would both boost the overall aid to the state by 85 million to the municipalities. Unfortunately, for some of us, that means that 80 towns would face reductions, while as 89 other cities would face would get an increase. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But as everybody knows, the session ends June 4th. So gonna be a lot of activity over the next 3 weeks, and I'll report next month with hopefully a full list of what your new unfunded mandates are.
What's the latest on this planning and zoning change that they were gonna eliminate parking regulations for?
That's it, as part of potentially another big omnibus, but we're not necessarily seeing conversation about that yet specifically, but we're on that, and the COGS and the other entities like Cost and CCM have been offering comment on that, and
So what are some of the comments? Some people for it, they against it,
I
they
think-
it's stupid?
they want it to be maybe an opt-in, like you locally can decide if you want to adopt that regulation. I don't think they're gonna necessarily mandate that, because I don't think it works in every downtown, but the TOD bill, the work, live, ride bill, all those are still kind of, I think, being juggled with conversation, so if you want us to track and let you know immediately as soon as there's action on that, I'm happy to do that. What do you want? What do you think? And what do you want on that one specifically for
I
Shelley?
don't know why they think that's an issue. Well, why wouldn't they leave that up to the locality to decide, what parking ratio should be?
That's what most of the comments are that go into P and D. So I think you're probably gonna see it not pass, in my, just my opinion. Because I think all these zoning things, I think people really want.
One of the problems with Connecticut is that we're diverse in the fact that we have different things that affect us differently in our respective locations. That being one of them.
Agreed. So I think that you're gonna probably see, if anything, it would be permissive. And while we're on that subject, just to wrap up the director's report up for Rick. At our last waste committee meeting, Mayor Hess had asked that we as staff send out an email to individual municipalities who have not provided certain information. First of all, thank you to most of your staff, provided great information, but the main gap in what we're looking for is probably the most important thing. Tipping fees. We don't have tipping fee numbers. Maybe your DPW directors didn't have them. So I'm gonna send those emails directly to the CEOs. We just received that information from Tetra Tech today, because if we want to really move forward with that thoughtfully, we need those numbers. And I know that's what, everybody around this table wants to see the most too. So I'll send that out either today or Monday.
Plus recycling.
But yes, all of the above. Yeah. So, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, any questions for Drew? All right, hearing none. We'll move to one of the best things we have going on. We can do a positive report from you, Aaron. Anytime, Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's a lot going on. Dam removal design is underway. GEI Consultants is out there right now doing data collection. They, over the last few weeks, have been flying aircraft to do LiDAR and bathymetry to get elevations for the entire project area. So I know we saw some things on social media about low flying aircraft in the area. So that's what that was about. We met with Connecticut DEP a few weeks ago with EPA and their consultants to talk about the data collection plan for the supplemental phase 2 assessment of the sediments. EPA is expecting to have a crew out in probably mid to late summer, collecting the rest of the information that we need to develop the sediment management plan. And that sediment management plan is really gonna determine what we can and can't do with the dam removal and is really gonna drive the cost as well. So it's really sort of the linchpin of the entire project, is having that information. The sewer relocation design is moving forward. CDM Smith is working on that. They will have a crew out doing geotechnical investigation in the beginning of June. So we're working on facilitating that right now. Last time we spoke 2 months ago, we were working on the second of two federal grant applications that we have since submitted. So both of those were through NOAA. Another $18 million we're requesting through that agency. We've also resubmitted our congressionally directed spending asks that we submitted last year. One of those had moved forward, but were stripped out of the budget at the last minute with the passage of the federal budget. So we've resubmitted two requests, a little over $10 million through congressionally directed spending. And with the support of Connecticut DEP, we're also working to secure state bond funds to backstop the project, which is important, especially now with the federal funding becoming less reliable. Rick was recently accompanied by Mayors Pernaruski, Mayor Hess, and former Mayor O'Leary on behalf of the Connecticut Brownfield Land Bank to a very productive meeting in the governor's office. We've received bipartisan support from members of the bonding subcommittee. We've notified our legislative delegations, and we've already heard that some have sent letters of support to the governor and committee chairs. We anticipate right now a $20 million authorization to be included in the bond package. This will be really important in the near term to match the congressionally directed spending that we have been awarded for the sewer project. And we think it'll help us, we think a show of support from the state like this will also help leverage additional federal funds for the larger project moving forward. And then on to the last item there, we have a community meeting. We've been holding these community meetings every other month in Ansonia and Seymour. The one on Tuesday is in Ansonia at the Harry Francis Ford Community Center on 4th Street. You're all welcome to join. There's also a virtual option, and we've been recording these and putting them on the website too. So just a way for us to keep the community involved, make sure we're answering all the questions that come up, and hopefully, have the community, really inform the design of what's going to happen to the property after.
Questions for Aaron? All right, thank you, Aaron. Good work. Household hazardous waste, Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank the Borough of Naugatuck for hosting our previous household hazardous waste event on April 12th, along with all the municipal staff who attended and helped plan the event. Through these efforts, we were able to collect 783 carloads of paint and hazardous waste. And as a reminder, the next HHW event will be held at John Trumbull Primary School in Oakville on July 26th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'll be sending out advertisement materials to the participating municipalities within the next month. We look forward to providing another successful event for our region's residents. I'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
All right, any questions? Waste update, Christine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. CTDEEP has announced
Your energy, you're doing better than everyone else.
All right, I'll try to keep it up. CTDEEP has announced another round of sustainable materials management waste reduction funding with applications due on June 27th. The scope has broadened considerably from the previous rounds. So applications can propose a variety of food waste, pay-as-you-throw, or innovative recycling and diversion programs. There are two important provisions that are new from previous rounds. First, DEEP is no longer funding pilot or temporary programs. Applicants will need to demonstrate a logistic or financial strategy for long-term maintenance of the program. Second, funds cannot be used to come into compliance with an existing law. So some of the new school-based organics requirements might get triggered there. That being said, there's still plenty of potential for Naugatuck Valley towns to claim a slice of this 7.5 million grant opportunity. Better yet, there's no match required. So please reach out to me ASAP if you're considering an application. NVCOG can provide that grant writing support for interested towns. In addition to that, at the direction of the Waste Committee, we will be preparing a regional application to offset the cost of backyard compost bins at a future sale. We'll be back with a more formal resolution and more details on that application at the June board meeting. So you have more details in the memo in your packet, and I'm very happy to take any questions.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, Mayor Cassetti from the city of Ansonia. Christine, is it possible you could reach out to me next week? I want to talk to you about the food waste.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
have a new garbage person, company, and they mentioned it to me. And they're interested in doing something. So I'd like to talk to you more about that because it was very successful when we had that pilot program here in Ansonia. And I got a lot of constituents of mine asking me about it. So I'd like to meet with you if possible.
That's great to hear. I'll send you an email right after this and we'll pick a time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, go to open space, Christine.
You're still stuck with me, unfortunately. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for almost 2 years, an interdisciplinary team at NVCOG has been updating and building out our regional open space inventory. This project, funded through a U.S. Forest Service grant, is finally entering its public comment period for 2 deliverables, an interactive map and the accompanying report and guide. So I encourage you to peruse the printouts of this on the table. They include the executive summary and then a QR code to the full report. The interactive map built by Richard Crowther allows users to click on any open space property in the region and access details about it, including ownership, acreage, use, level of legal protection, and a land record citation. The report and guide document provides background on open space, details report methodology, lists key regional findings, and highlights each municipality with a unique 2-page profile. The inventory has exciting potential to inform municipal planning. At minimum, the map can serve as a starting point for your open space map and your next POCD update, but the effort has also yielded important language and statistics that you could use in grant writing efforts or develop a strategy to acquire more open space. Feedback from your staff will ensure the accuracy and completeness of this regional resource. Although no action is requested of the board, municipalities are strongly encouraged to review the drafts and provide us with comments by June 13th. Before I take questions, I just want to recognize the outstanding efforts of our team. I especially want to recognize Tom Doherty for his willingness to take on extra tasks to keep us on deadline, Rich Crowther for doing all the GIS work solo after Glenda retired, and Heidi Coronel for designing the beautiful report you will see online. These staff members may not always directly present to you, but they are behind the scenes doing incredible work for our region. At this point, I'm happy to take questions.
Okay, questions for Christine? All right, thank you, Christine. Brownsfield, no Ricardo.
I think Aaron will.
Aaron,
I do not have an update on Ricardo's behalf, but I know you wanted to share something, Mike.
Yeah, so yeah, Ricardo just, in the packet, there's just a synopsis of the projects that are going on. But so other than that, so EPA, we were selected by the EPA client for a review. This came through at the end of April. So the random selection, not an audit, they made it clear to tell us that. They selected a few drawdowns. It's not too dissimilar to our triennial process with the FDA. It's just a small program. It's not as extensive. We're in the middle of submitting documents. We plan to probably be wrapped up by the end of the summer. But you know, it's business as usual other than that.
okay. Any questions on Brownsfield? All right, municipal affairs group.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Briefly, working with the Region 5 dive team right now on a grant application for 2 pieces of equipment that they would like. One being a surface air supply unit, basically a big bubble that sits on the top of a body of water that allows them to be more nimble in their operations, and also a high resolution sonar unit, which could be used in the region for not only search and rescue and but also for mapping structures underwater, bridges, things like that. So working on that. The only other thing from an emergency management perspective is you're going to be seeing the yearly round of requests for Homeland Security grant resolutions, which depending on your rules in your town, most of you have to get in front of your town councils or your boards of aldermen, alderwomen to get approved. So that'll be coming directly from your fiduciary, whether you're in region 1, 2, or 5. So keep an eye out for those. Next slide, please. And last but not least, we did have our first meeting of the Regional Fire Training School Committee, which 6 municipalities have volunteered to be a part of. We had really nice roundtable discussion last week on this, and we have some items that we're moving forward on. I just wanted to note the date of the next meeting, which is Friday, June 20th, at 9 o'clock in the morning. I think that's before your next full board meeting. Am I wrong? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, so it'll be before. If anybody else wants to join, you're more than welcome to join that conversation, which has essentially been led by First Selectman St. John, who's been in the fire service and for a long time. So appreciate his effort.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I don't think we will. It'll happen in my lifetime.
We need a little more optimism.
Yeah. Been at it 25 years. I gotta give us credit.
Keep it up. All right, transportation planning, we're gonna table item 1. We're gonna move to Lotsip, my second favorite area, underutilized in my judgment, but, let's go with Lotsip.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. So this first Lotsip project got in front of us is for Beacon Valley Road in Beacon Falls. This project has already been constructed and has been completed, but there are some overages associated with this project. So during construction, upon completion of the areas around the roadway, it was evident that portions of the slope separating the road from the brook, Beacon Hill Brook, were subject to erosion and could have a washout in a severe storm event. So NVCOG was notified, and we talked to DOT to get a change order applied for the project to stabilize the slope with gravel. The department directed us to use contingency funds to perform this work, and then any overages that may happen later in construction, they wanted to have that conversation later. So now is the time. That overage, so the cost for the stabilization was approximately $100,000, and then there's an additional $30,000 that for just incidental things that came up during construction. So the overage for this project is $36,300, and there's a motion on the screen to approve the overage for this project. And of course, I'll take any questions. I will mention that TTAC did endorse this at our last TTAC meeting.
Okay, Prospect Department.
Go ahead, make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 3.
Yeah, you're still stuck with me. We got another Lotsip project. This is a cost change during design for Lakewood Road sidewalks here in Waterbury. Lakewood Road is a minor arterial on the northern side of the city where the existing sidewalk on the northern side is either in really poor condition or non-existent. So this Lotsip project will be constructing new sidewalk along the entire corridor. The current project construction cost is around $3.23 million, which is an increase from $1.97 million. There's a couple reasons for this increase. First, there are signal upgrades that are being required at Lakewood Road at the Wookett Road intersection per District 4 of Connecticut DOT. And second, this project has been in design for a while, so inflation over the past couple of years has driven the cost up. So there's a motion on the screen to approve the new cost for the project. I'll take any questions, and I'll mention again that TTAC has endorsed this at our last TTAC meeting.
All right, questions? Lakewood Road sidewalk. Good thing, Judy?
Good thing.
All right, can we have a motion?
Make that motion.
Motion from Middlebury,
Second.
second from Shelton. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New project, complete street improvement, South Main and North Main Street, Waterbury. Kevin.
All right, this is the last one I've got for you today. So this is a new Lots project, as is kind of being dubbed Exchange Place Part 3. This is doing complete streets improvements on South Main Street and North Main Street here in Waterbury. Exchange Place Part 1 was done as part of the East Main Street Lots project, which is completed. Exchange Place Part 2 is being constructed right over there currently. It is reconstructing Bank Street from the Mixmaster up all the way to the Green and portions of South Main Street as well. This project will be continuing these efforts by the city. It will be constructing South Main Street from Grand and Union up 1 block, as well as North Main Street, north of the Green up to Phoenix Avenue. So the project is currently estimated to be about $3.05 million. So there's a motion on the screen to adopt this new project into the LOTSIP program. TTAC has endorsed this during our last TTAC meeting.
All right, any questions for Kevin? We have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Shelton, second by Middlebury. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Disadvantaged Business Enterprises, BBE updates, Desiree.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm bringing up the rear here. This item requires no action by the board, just an update. So NVCOG is in the process of updating the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise or DBE program to ensure compliance with federal regulations in alignment with the U.S. Department of Transportation. As part of this effort, we're also preparing a new set of DBE participation goals that will reflect both the opportunities in our federal assisted contracts and our commitment to the inclusion of small and disadvantaged businesses and contracting. So the process will include an analysis of market area availability of DBE firms, consultation with local stakeholders, a review of historical participation data, and a public comment period. So we'll be back before the board in the coming months to bring you a draft goal and a program update. This is also a required thing we do every 3 years. Happy to take any questions.
Questions? Okay. Thank you. Round table. Doubtful anyone is gonna come forward. Any thoughts?
I know.
All right, we'll go to, we have a motion to adjourn. Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, we're adjourned.
That is a record.
Yeah, that's a new
Yep.
record.
That is a record.
No marker, Rick.
I would.
Yeah.